We also kind of heard a lot of music from the band Archies that's been used in the Archies. Suhana is a good singer, so she ended up singing one of the songs for Veronica. She's got a great singing voice, and I'll be very honest that she auditioned first. Agastya, he's got great sense of rhythm. We had cast Dot as an artist to make music for Betty. आओ कहानी सुनो मेरी जबानी सुनो क्यों जिंदगी लगती है हमको आसान ये सुनो. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. That was, of course, the song Suno from the film Archies. Ankur Tiwari, welcome to CNN News 18.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Ankur, your latest film, that much talked about Netflix movie The Archies, which is directed by Zoya Akhtar. The songs are out, although we can see the influence of bubblegum pop genre in the film song. So to start with, what was the brief by Zoya to you when you started work on the film?
I think the most interesting brief for us was the script itself. So Zoya, Rima, and Aisha, they've written the script, and it's quite fabulous. It's set in the 60s. It's based around the Anglo-Indian community in a fictional hill station called Riverdale. And just that idea itself lends itself to so many different ways that you can treat the music. Anglo-Indian community in India has been so instrumental in our regional music and even in our mainstream music. A lot of our filmmakers and music directors in films even used a lot of these Anglo-Indians to help them arrange, play in the music, and you can see that influence in the movie music as well, plus the regional music. So it's quite interesting. It was kind of a global sound in India before India went global.
So then for you, what was the biggest challenge when you started work on the film music?
The biggest challenge was that you had to be authentic to the 60s. We are slowly gravitating towards a different generation that probably has little or no memory of the 60s. It's like nostalgia that exists for an older generation. So the idea was to keep it relevant, to keep it interesting, at the same time, keep it authentic to the time and the script.
So then which music or the songs you were listening to while composing music for the Archies?
So we'd done a lot of research. I'd read a few books and I'd met a lot of people from the Anglo-Indian community to understand what were the bands in India at that time in the 60s, late 50s, early 60s, even to late 60s that were playing in India, trying to get their music, trying to see what was happening around the world. Things at that time were not as, what would happen in late 50s would affect in mid 60s in India. So what was happening in world music in late 60s? What was happening in the Indian music scene in the 60s? What was happening in the pop culture? And so just like kind of like researching that, talking to a lot of people, listening to a lot of people, listening to a lot of music from that time was part of the exercise that we did.
So then enlighten us also what you discovered about the music of 60s, which was non-film music.
I mean, a lot of music, there were songs like My Girlfriend is a Wrestler to Close to You. There's this band that, in fact, one of couple of tracks we have used and licensed in the movie as well. It's like literally like the what kind of music was playing in homes at that time. Obviously, there was no television, so a lot of people were gathering at homes and singing songs, folk songs, and funny songs that they were making up while they were singing at home in a group and trying to, have fun in the absence of, things like television. Some people had radio, but not everybody had a radio set as well.
We can see the influence of bubblegum pop genre in the film song. Sugar Sugar was one breakout hit.
Yes.
That genre.
Yeah, so we also kind of heard a lot of music from the band Archies that's been used in the Archies. Also, especially because Shankar, Ishan, and Loy were doing bulk of the music. Ehsan and Loy especially have so much kind of depth in the research from that time in terms of the musical instruments that were being used, the guitar tones, the kind of chord progressions. So it was just like, it became almost like a trivia thing. Did you know this? Do you know this? So it was listening to a lot of music that was happening in the bubblegum pop genre and rock and roll and jazz, but at the same time trying to have a very grounded and rooted feel of what was happening in India.
The film has this triangle that we can see in the trailer, where Archie, that's played by Agastya Nanda, has main crush on Veronica, that is played by Suhana Khan, and he's also fond of Betty, that's played by Khushi Kapoor. Now, both Betty and Veronica were actually vocalists, or are vocalists of the rock band in the film. How you decided the singing voice for the actors, for Suhana, for Khushi, and for Agastya?
So it's interesting that you asked this because it was very important that it's a musical, so a lot of dialogue delivery is through music as well. So it was very important to cast for the voices. So Suhana is a good singer. So we were kind of like, fortunate there. So she ended up singing one of the songs for Veronica. Uh, we had cast Dot as an artist to make music for Betty. And while we were actually working on a song when Zoya sprung a question at her that if she wants to act. So she ended up acting as Ethel in the movie. For Agastya, unfortunately, he's got great sense of rhythm, but he's not that great a singer. So we had to find a voice that suits his personality, which has got like, he's charming as hell. So we wanted to get somebody whose voice has the charm. Tejas Menon has been singing in the independent scene for quite some time, but he had never sung in Hindi. So we pulled him into the studio. Shankar really kind of voice coached him, helped him get the diction right. Javed Saab was there to help to get the diction right and get the throw in Hindi correct. And Tejas's voice, out of all the voices that we auditioned, really suit Agastya's personality. And when we put Tejas's voice against Agastya's, audition tapes, it was really working well. So Tejas ended up being the voice of Archie. Vedang sings very well, so he did all the voice for Reggie. And Shivam Mahadevan, he's got like, he can sing really high pitch, which goes with the personality of Jagat. So Shivam Mahadevan ended up being the voice of Jagat.
So then, which song actually Suhana recorded for Archie in her voice?
This song called Jab Tum Na Thi, it's a conversation between Archie and Veronica. So when you see it in the film, you'll also get the story context, but she voiced that song for Veronica.
Do you think Suhana in future can also sing like in a for her films? That she has a good singing voice?
Absolutely. She's got a great singing voice, and I'll be very honest that she auditioned first and she was there, but the one person who had immense faith in her voice and her talent was Shankar Mahadevan. And he really pushed her. He workshopped with her for like hours and hours, like from like he especially took time out and spent a lot of time with Suhana to just get her voice and get mainly she has the voice and she has the talent, but she needed that it's just one like shot of confidence that I think Shankar really helped her get that shot of confidence and help her deliver. And it was very interesting because she hit the pitch correct in the first go. She had really practiced. She's someone who does her homework really hard. If I don't know if you've seen the song Dishum Dishum, she really showed her skating skills there, in which these girls like really workshop for over 5 months to just get the skating right. But even with her singing, she took time out. We workshop for a while. She worked with a vocal coach, and then she spent that time with Shankar to get the voice right.
Ankur, Zoya Akhtar Gully Boy had its premiere at Berlinale. This film Archies will be viewed by a global audience. Knowing when the film is about a rock band and the music is also a character in the film, how much pressure was there on you to deliver a soundtrack that will just not serve the purpose in the film but also have the quality to become an instant favorite?
Yeah, I usually don't take a lot of pressure for the audience. Like for me, the audience doesn't come first. Firstly, the first thing that happens to me is like I have to deliver an honest soundtrack that complements the story and the film. And more often than less, if is complementing the film, it ends up working for everyone. So the idea was not to try and make something external that we were not trying to make hit songs. We were just trying to make honest songs that complement the script. And as it was happening, the partnership with Shankar Isan Loy especially was so beautiful because they just like I think we jammed for 6 days in the first go, and they had already cracked five melodies before we took it to Javed Saab to write the lyrics, and they were on a roll, like they because everyone was just in such a good mood, like everyone, Shankar and Loy have such a jovial personality, and everyone was laughing, joking around, and just like throwing ideas at each other, and they have this kind of a telepathic rhythm to them that like what Shankar is thinking, Loy is already playing on the keys, and Ehsan is already like noodling some stuff on his guitar. So it was just like a joy to make the music. I remember if I look back at making the album, it almost took us a year and a half, 2 years to make the album. If I the one thing I remember most is laughter and food.
Which song took maximum time to finish?
I think the song Ye Sari Awazein, that took a lot of time. That comes in a very critical moment in the film. We took a lot of time to construct it, and it has a full journey, and it builds to a climactic outro as well. So I think that song really took a long time. Even cracking the lyrics, I think Javed Saab took like 2 or 3 attempts to really finalize the lyrics. If he took time to like finalize the lyric what he was happy with, then Zoya had some comments and he wanted to, it was almost went into like we have to really crack this well.
So then, like you said, Javed Saab has written the songs for the film. So did you have any disagreement with him, or what was disagreements like in that room?
I mean, I wouldn't say there were any disagreements. It was quite smooth, but there were definitely lots of points of view, and it took time to land on the same point of view. There were some songs that Javed Saab has written with Dot, like, and Javed Saab himself is a legend writing for so long, and Dot is absolute newcomer. She's 25, and just seeing both of them work with each other, he as he said in a recent interview that he had to use just 15% of his vocabulary to make sure that it fit the scenario of what we were shooting, and was writing in English, so like how the languages were merging and how we were falling in, like how it seems seamless, where it doesn't seem that you see okay abhi, it's like Anglo-Indian Hindi, and then now it's English, where one thing flows into another. We had to make it seamless. We had to work with each other, and make it so simple that it doesn't seem as if like it's a story of 17-year-olds. So obviously, from their point of view, it's like it should not sound as if it's coming from a 75-year-old person. It should look like it's from a 17-year-old kid who's singing the song. So it was quite exciting and quite challenging, I may say, if I may say so. And I feel that it did take a lot of time to get to what we finally got to.
So then, please share any anecdote from one such sittings.
There's a song called Plum Pudding
I
in the
have a
film.
question for that. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I ended up writing dummy lyrics. So Shankar Isan Loy had composed this uh, amazing fun melody that's like really warm, gives you a feeling of simpler times. And the drill used to be that I used to write dummy lyrics to it, and then so that we can make a demo, and then we would take it to Javed Saab, and then he would write the lyrics. But I think when we wrote the dummy lyrics, I always felt that it had a comical side to it and had a fun side to it. So I was telling Zoya we should use words in it that have like a sonic sound to it. So like, so there are
Boom,
words
boom,
like
ding dong, ting ting.
boom, to boom boom ding dong ting 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 ping pong. So it's like, so she said I'm not getting how you see it. So I wrote these words, मेरा दिल धड़कता है boom boom तेरे लिए. So somewhere we And she loved the demo lyrics so much that we didn't end up going to Javed Sa for that. And then she ended up writing the chorus for it. So Zoya has written the chorus for the song. So it was almost like, like everybody could contribute and it's like a family affair.
I thought Zoya is also was one of the singers on the song as well.
She has done some like really far off backing vocal because everybody it's in a party sequence, everyone's singing, the crowd is singing, so she's far off backing vocalist. But where she's really contributed is the chorus of the song, where she's written the lyrics of the chorus.
Ankur, you have this discerning quality of identifying good songs. You, of course, have created the song for Coke Studio Bharat that gave us Khalasi from Aditya Gadvi and Ajin Thakkar. That has actually emerged as one of the biggest song of the year in the indie space. What is it that you look in the song that you think will appeal to the whole country, irrespective of the language?
I would say, like, there are lots of songs that work, there are lots of songs that don't work, but one thing that's constant with all the songs is it should come with an honest intent. I never try and go for we have to make a hit song. I always try and say as honest to the story and try and tell a good story. And a lot of times stories, if they're honest, they connect with people because they start seeing their story in the story that they're hearing. And I feel definitely songs uh, are a medium to tell stories. I definitely feel play a very, very important part. India is a country that loves its poetry as much as it loves its music. And I feel in times in our mainstream and even in the independent scene, we have been lazy about the lyrical aspect of things. A lot of times we just go into rhyming words rather than really telling a story. And there is no like honest intent even in just a rhyme. Like you can do a very simple rhyme, but if it comes with an honest story behind it, it kind of
Connects.
resonates with people. Yeah. So I think like people connect with songs where they can find themselves in it. So we try and follow that with most of the songs that we try and do, whether it's for a movie, whether you're writing it for yourself. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, but not to take pressure about getting the numbers or delivering a hit. I was telling somebody the other day that earlier the songs themselves were called numbers, and now we're chasing some different kind of numbers. And I think that's what we are trying to do. We should concentrate on just making good numbers instead of trying to chase some weird numbers.
But then, what was the idea behind recording the reprise version of your song Suno with Shillong Choir?
When you see the film, you realize it comes in two very interesting points in the film and two very different moods. So when you see the film, it'll fall into place for you. And also it kind of does a bracket for the whole film. It starts with it and it ends a chapter ends with it as well.
Now, you worked as the music supervisor on Gully Boy. That was the 18 song soundtrack. You also co-composed couple of songs. How exhausting was the whole process or experience for you? That was, of course, the first time that you came on board as as music supervisor.
The thing is, you get so consumed that you don't realize how it is exhausting. It takes a lot of your time, energy, physical and emotional energy. But you get so consumed by it, you only realize it once it releases, like you don't really realize how exhausting it can be because you're so consumed with the process. It's just you're creating things out of ether and it just becomes so interesting, and it's not the number of songs, it's just that how you see music in a film. I definitely see music as not only as a storytelling tool in movies, but also as a design tool in a movie. So it's part of the design of the film as well. So a lot of times when I start making music, I also have meetings with the production designer of the film, and both Gully Boy and Archies has the same production designer, Suzanne. So just hanging with her, just talking to her, how she's treating colors, what's the mood, what's the frame going to be like. So that helps you kind of help the design aspect of music as well. So you get a palette getting going from the production designer as well. So it's just like is as consumed as you can be with the project.
So then, for Gully Boy, did you use any street voices in your songs just because it was because of the setting, the milieu of the film?
Yeah, so all the music of the film has come from exactly where the film is set. Like I think at least 80 to 90% of the music has come from the Bombay streets,
No,
from
I'm
the
saying city
people.
noises, not sorry, voice. No, city noise, the noises that you often hear in these places.
We didn't use city noises, but we definitely use rhythms that are from Bombay. So whether it's the rhythm of the train or whether it's the rhythm that you can find in a traffic, is how people like, would probably the sounds you would hear in a household. So you definitely, we use some cues, not directly exactly like that, but definitely inspired by the sounds of a city.
So then, what inspired the idea to collaborate with Karsh Kale when you brought him on board Gully Boy?
So Karsh and Medieval Pundits had made this demo called the Train Song a few years before the film was made, and I had known that song because I'd heard it in the festival, and it definitely had the vibe and the euphoric feeling that you would need to close a chapter in a film. I had known that song at that time. The song was in Kannada, so we sung by Raghu only, and Karsh doing the English vocals. So when we adapted the song for the movie, we just had to adapt the words and get it written in Hindustani, so it can suit the film palette, and it really fit well where it appears in the film.
And finally, do singers or composers have this reset button in their mind, which helps them move on to the next creation? And how do both of this function?
You know what happens is that once you are in a project and you get exhausted, you feel that okay, I'm going to take a break. And as soon as it releases, then you feel so empty that you don't take a break and you dive into it. It's probably applies to anybody who's passionate about their work. Probably maybe it applies to you as well. You end up being so excited about what you're doing that you just end up deep diving into the next project as soon as one gets over. So and it's also kind of a fresh break, fresh perspective. It's like going to a new dreamland.
Well, on that note, I want to thank you for talking to me. All the
Thank
best for
you.
all your future projects and
Thank
for
you
the
so much.
writing. Thank you so much and best of luck.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.